Hi scribes, how y'all doing? Hope you're having fun learning all these. Have a suggestion. Why not take everything you've learned so far about research, character, story, plotting a story with a three-act structure, and write a simple story with it? No, not in screenplay format, in prose form. Come on, test your skills and knowledge, and let me know how that goes, okay? I'm already half excited, waiting to hear from you. Alright, back to it. We're on the 5-act story structure and we're using the most popular method, Freytag's pyramid, to learn this style of storytelling. As a reminder, here's Freytag's pyramid once more. Again, the 5 acts of Freytag's pyramid are exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution/denouement. Using the Freytag method of 5 acts, the story starts with exposition. This part primarily introduces the major elements, the setting, characters, theme or genre, etc. In the exposition, the writer's sole focus is on building the world in which the story's conflict happens. The length of the exposition depends on the complexity of the story's conflict and the extent of the world being introduced. Then we move on to the second part of the structure, which is rising action. The rising action explores the story's conflict up until its climax. Often, things get worse in this part of the story. Someone makes a wrong decision, the antagonist hurts the protagonist, new characters further complicate the plot, etc. However, while this part explores the story's conflicts and complications, the rising action should investigate much more than just the story's plot. In rising action, the viewer gets to see/understand key pieces of backstory. The third part of the story structure is the climax. Every part of your story is important, but if there's one part where you really want to adorn the landing, it's the climax. Here the story's conflict peaks, and we'll learn the fate of the main characters. Lots of writers enter the climax of their story believing that it needs to be short, fast, and action-packed. Now, while some stories might require this style of climax, like action films in particular, there's no strict formula when it comes to climax writing. Think of the climax as the turning point in the story, a turning point of the story's plot structure, themes, and ideas. This is the writer's opportunity to comment on whatever concept is driving the story's narrative, giving your viewers an emotional takeaway. The fourth part of the structure is the falling action. In falling action, the writer explores the aftermath of the climax. You can use these questions as a guide for falling action. A. Do other conflicts arise as a result? B. How does the climax show the story's central themes? C. How do the characters react to the irreversible changes made by the climax? The story's falling action is often the trickiest part to write. The writer must start to tie up loose ends from the main conflict, explore broader concepts and themes, and push the story towards some form of a resolution, while still keeping the focus on the climax and its aftermath. I can hear some of you groaning already, like, how do I learn all that? Always remember, practice makes perfect. The more you work at it, that is, the more you write, the better you become. Yeah, Rome wasn't built in a day, but it was built due to consistency. So, stay with it. Trust me, it gets better. Okay, now for the fifth and final part of the 5-act structure, we have resolution/denouement. The big question here is, how do you end the story? Truthfully, one of the most frustrating parts of writing is figuring out where or how to end your story. What is that final scene? How do I conclude this masterpiece? In theory, the story can continue on forever, especially in the aftermath of a life-altering climax, or even if the story is set in an alternate world. The resolution of the story involves tying up the loose ends of the climax and falling action. Sometimes this means following the story's aftermath to a chilling conclusion. The protagonist dies, the antagonist escapes, A fatal mistake has fatal consequences, etc. Other times, the resolution ends on a lighter note. Maybe the protagonist learns from their mistakes, starts a new life, or forgives and rectifies whatever incited the story's conflict. So, whichever direction the writer chooses to go, you just need to find that dynamic end to the journey. And there we have it, the 5 act story structure using the famous Freytag's pyramid. This means we now know how to structure a story using either 3 acts or 5 acts. Drum roll! I'm curious though, which one do you prefer? 3 acts or 5 acts? Let's chat in the comments, or you can send an email to writenowscribes@gmail.com. Also say hi on IG at writenowscribes. Bye!